A new program called Puppet Pie involves using puppets to help those who are neurodivergent better express themselves. And the program includes the designing and printing out of customized puppet designs. For more on all this, we're joined by Stacy Gordon, founder of Puppet Pie. She's also the puppeteer of Julia, the first Sesame Street character with autism. I think I said you were a former Sesame. I didn't mean to shock you.
No, that's okay. I was hoping that you didn't have bad news for me.
No, sometimes words just fly into my head. And, my puppeteer just says how long have you been with Sesame Street?
I've been with them since 2016.
Wow, how'd that get started?
They were looking for a person who had a strong connection to autism to puppeteer this character that they had debuted the previous October. And the puppetry community is, as you imagine, somewhat small. So a couple people knew me. They all knew that my son's autistic and that I'd worked with autistic children as a habilitator. And so they reached out, and I, through a series of auditions, I'm grateful to be the person selected to get to portray her on the show.
Wow, and congratulations on that. In terms of puppets, puppeteering, the whole 9 yards, and dealing with neurodivergent folks, there seems to be a special connection.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, I would say that rather than we're dealing with the neurodivergent folks are dealing with us.
Sure, I got you.
With a neurotypical world, and that's probably the biggest hurdle, right? There's so few places where anybody can just be themselves, and not worry about how they're expressing themselves. And 1 in 5 people. 1 in 5 kids worldwide is neurodivergent, whether it's autism, whether it's ADHD, mental health challenge, something like that. So there's more people who are neurodivergent than I think ever getting diagnosed. And just doing arts and crafts can help you emotionally regulate, things like that. They say 73% of the kids who are neurodivergent report challenges expressing and sharing their emotions.
But then we got the puppets.
Then we've got puppets that can help do that.
It just seems like there's a special relationship with this kind of activity.
Yeah, no, there is. And the Yale University did a study with the Jim Henson Foundation where they studied the responses for autistic children specifically and neurotypical children, where they measured the eye contact and with eye tracking software. And when there was a puppet on the screen, the increase of eye contact was almost almost the same as their neurotypical peers.
Yes.
There's fewer things to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like my face moves so much. There's so many, there's so many different
nuances. Yeah.
So many nuances, so many muscles. Whereas a puppet says what it means. It's not nearly as difficult to figure out. And frankly, it's a lot more fun to pretend and tell your challenges or even express your challenges through a puppet. I know that I can make puppets say things that I can't get away with.
Sure. And in terms of Puppet Pie and making, now, these folks, do they make their own puppets? And do they make their own puppets under certain guidelines? How does it work?
So what happened is HP came to me and asked to collaborate on a project that kids could make puppets at home. Because most people don't just have a puppet lying around that's going to express how they feel. So what I did was I created a couple of puppet bases, like 2 different heads. You can see that their bodies are kind of similar. So I made one that's a little bit easier. Sorry, you're gonna bite the head while I put this puppet on. So this one's, this one's a little bit easier to operate for younger kids. This one's a little bit more complex because we all know people who love to get into a project. And then there's a sheet of eyes, there's a sheet of hands, feet, bodies, and you can pretty much customize it to be whatever you want and however you want to feel.
And the creation of the puppet itself, that factors into the communication and the identification and just the relationship aspect.
Absolutely. Have you ever just slowed down and colored something in?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It allows you a lot of time to think and process.
You know what else I've done? I've interviewed comedians who had little puppets and had their makeup, whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd be on the show, whether it's radio or TV, and the puppet would do some sort of smart alecky thing. I'm staring at the puppet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking at the person who's talking. I'm staring at
Yeah.
the puppet like it's a real thing. I mean, that is our natural inclination.
Yeah, I've had people try and mic my puppets before.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not where the sound comes from.
What kind of response are you getting from the puppet pie and just the process of doing all?
Oh, the print pals, it has been honestly really amazing. Actually, I was just sent, a mom just made them at her son's birthday party with all of his little friends. And really, honestly, the biggest and best reaction that I'm getting is from the neurodivergent community, in that I tested this with a local school for neurodivergent kids, and seeing them regulate and process and figure out how they wanted to express themselves. That was really getting to see it firsthand was probably the biggest impact for me.
Yeah.
But the stories that I'm getting from therapists, from teachers, from parents, that giving them a way to help their kids regulate and express is really just been overwhelmingly positive.
I'm sure it's very, very rewarding, and it's great to know that Julia is based right here in Phoenix.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by with all your friends and joining us, and it's great information. It's good to know that Julia's there, Print Pal's there, Puppet Pie, the whole nine. You're all around.
We're all around.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.